Morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are, whatever time of the day it is. Welcome to another episode of Wakile Kwekon. My co-partner in crime has run away to play a game of golf, but he is with us somewhere. So we have an interesting guest for this episode. And without much ado, just introduce yourself.
So face the camera.
Yeah, you can face the camera.
My name is Moriasi Omambia. I am 37 and I'm the General Counsel and Head of Business Affairs for the Sol Group of Companies.
Nice one. Let me throw a curveball before we begin. A few days on Twitter, someone was asking, Bien ako wapi? Ako Gecko ama ameenda Hollywood? Ama ako wapi? Are the boys in the country?
No, they're in LA for the Grammys.
Oh, they're away.
Yeah, so they are part of the Africa Grammy Council.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons they're there. And also they're members of the Recording Academy. So as guys who vote, I mean, it's important for them to be in LA.
Yeah.
There are a couple of meetings that they're also taking as individuals and as directors. Director shareholders of the business, right? So LA is the place to be if you're an artist, if you're a musician, a producer, if you're in the music business. This period of time is end of January into mid-Feb is the best time to be in LA. Yeah. So you could Gecko. Alpha ko Gecko.
Miss Joey, mimi nilionawasema alikuwa anasema alikuwa nafaa kwa Gecko. So guys are asking, is Bien in Gecko or is Bien in is gone for Grammys?
I didn't see a poster. I'm sure alistuka akiona yeye na chiki kwa ndege.
Sasa tufanye hivi. Ebu tell me, where did you grow up kwanza? Tuanze tu story from the time you were a kiddo.
Growing up, born in Nairobi.
Nairobi wapi?
Nairobi Hospital. Nairobi Hospital took a short trip to Mada, MF27. That's home. It was home, will always be home. So yeah, really grew up Mada.
Yeah.
And then in either 91, 92, we moved to Namibia. And my dad was got a job there, so we moved there. Yeah, and then spent a lot of my childhood there. Then was it 97 or 8? Came back to Kenya.
So in that transition, had you started school here?
Yeah, I started school here. Yeah, so started with Madaraka Primary. It was closest to home. And then I think I was there, very hazy memories. And then went to Kilimani Junior. No, Langata Primary. Then after Langata Primary, went to Kilimani Junior. Yeah, then from KJA, that's when we left.
To Namibia?
Yeah.
And in Namibia, how is the education system varied? Do you remember, do you have memories about how it was different from...
it was very different, man. Listen, we had moved just after the independence. So, being children of expatriates, you had two choices. Either you go to an Africana school or an American system school. And at that time, there was just one American system school. It was very small, was dusty. So there was a really good Africana school called Emma Wakhanot. Wasn't too far from home. And that's where I went. And it's different, it's metric. It's very Africana. So you go into this school where you're learning, of course, is the Kawaida classes, but then you have to learn Afrikaans, which was interesting.
No, you were fluent in African?
No.
Yeah.
No. Well, I used to be, but now I'm not. I can hear it still. Yeah.
Jeez,
I comprehend quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a curveball. It's what I didn't expect, but yeah. So you come back to Kenya?
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it was interesting because we were a little bit privileged, dark-skinned Africans living in a country that had just gained its independence from a very white-centric, German-centric country. So it was an interesting space to navigate, especially in school. Come back home, and off to boarding school.
Oh, how early was that?
Immediately.
No. I mean, by the time you're coming back, in which class were you, probably?
April 98. Where was I? Class 5, 6. Class 5. Sent to Kisii. Yeah, I went to school in Kisii, a school called Pace Primary. And then shifted from Kisii, then went to Nakuru, a school called St. George's, where my cousin, our oldest cousin, had his children. It was really cool. That's where I went and finished class 8. And then another shift. So from there straight to Braeside.
Oh.
Yeah.
Braeside, the one that is just
on
Gitanga Road.
Yeah.
How was the culture shock? And considering you're coming from Namibia, then you come back here, you sent to Kisii, Nakuru, and then all of a sudden you're in...
As you might assume now, I'm a chameleon. Like primary school, straight from KJA to another system, you have to adapt into that system, and then back from Namibia straight to Kisii, you have to adapt to that system. Culture shock is not...
You're used to these things.
I just change color. Yeah, you just adapt quickly.
And so that I know I'm pushing this conversation a bit far, but you're going to come back. Do you think that that change in movement has enabled you to be the kind of person you are in terms of career?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, and not career in terms of, this is how I'm adaptable in different spaces as, number one, a representative of a group that is consistently in different spaces. You get me? So that it helps. So if I'm in front of someone, I can navigate their character, I can navigate who they are and what they are, what their intentions are pretty quickly. But also it's helped me be able to understand that I can walk into a room and, first read the room before just, trying to navigate it. So that's what it taught me, really.
So you do your uni at Braeside?
I do my O-level at Braeside.
Yeah.
And then I do my A-level at Brookhouse.
Oh, so you just jump across two roads?
It's just shifting, because when we came back home, we're living in Mada, but I was in Braeside. So there's another dynamic there of uko Mada lakini chuo ni Braeside. And then from Mada, because my mom had come back a few years earlier to finish the house in Ronga. Then when was this? It was just as I think a year after I joined Braeside, we moved to Ronga. So now you're uko Ronga, and it's 5 a.m. You wait for the bus at Bomas. Cold, go all the way to Lavi, come all the way back, right? So we've really adapted. Yeah, it's that movement. Then of course now Brookhouse.
So after Brookhouse?
More university, another change.
Hey, my guy.
There's this one saying my dad always has.
Yeah.
Exposure is the best teacher. You must be, to be successful in life, you must be exposed to different climates and environments to be able to navigate this world. Maybe that's what he was trying to do. I'm pretty sure that if it was intentional, it worked. If it was unintentional, it still worked, right? Because I can navigate. I have networks. From my Namibia days to my SA days to Mada, to Ronga, to Braeside, to Brookhouse, to Moi, You know, all these were how you expose, how am I exposing this young man to the world? And how is he going to take it in? And how is he going to use all this exposure in how it's going to work, right? And how he's going to live and how he's going to relate with his family, with his friends. How big of a network can he build from all these spaces? So whether it's intentional or unintentional, I mean, it's fantastic.
So I'm assuming at Moi there was no other movement. You malized you 4 years there.
Yeah. Yeah, no. After Moi, it was straight back here, KSL. And then this journey started. Like, it started in earnest, right? With formalizing my relationship with Sauti. And then the journey just started.
Sasa hata nkurudisha nyuma kidogo. As you're having as you're trying to set up, we had a conversation, just a brief one. You told me you wanted to be a lawyer by the time you're 8 years old.
Yeah. That's when I remember, but I'm sure it was a bit earlier.
So what was the push? How did that come about?
I can't remember really. But I remember when I was like 9, 10, there was a show called The Practice, remember it?
Bro, I do not.
Where? There's a show called The Practice. It was really cool. But it was a lot of litigation. So I really liked The Practice. I liked watching it. So I want to be like those guys. So yeah. Then there was a cousin of mine called Gideon Yameno who had gone to India to study law. I thought he was the coolest guy on earth. So those were some of the influences.
And just to keep on building to that conversation, you also took a few steps in high school to go and do internships here and there, right?
Yeah. So my father was a friend to Mohammed Nyauga, and when I was in high school, I would go to Mohammed Bigai. The office would be in a building in town. I can't remember the name of the building.
Town?
Yeah, in town before KREP. And I used to go there during the summer holidays. And yeah, just to see what happens, to shadow people around and really try and understand. That's another point of exposure that, my dad put me up to. I'll let me say my parents. Yeah, and then it was good because then I got to meet and see what actual practice is like. It's not the glitz and glamour that,
of the practice.
Of the practice or Boston Legal or Suits. It's a lot of sitting down, reading, drafting, research, phone calls, trying to understand what's going on. Yeah, and very boring days in courts.
Like Vioja Makamani.
Sometimes it takes ages, but yes. So yes, that's where I started my journey, in trying to understand what the legal space actually was. And I'm glad it started there because I got to meet, I got to shadow Prof, Senior Counsel guy, also with Senior Mohammed Nyauga, also with that time David Majanja was part of the law firm. And it was fantastic just to see this, brilliant human being who's now a judge, do work, and got to see counsels like David Imende go from coming in as an associate to being now, I think he's the managing partner. And you see this and you see, you get to respect the process. And you can see that these individuals have put in work and there's dedication and there's loyalty. I think one of the biggest things I learned from that farm was loyalty. Because a lot of the people who were there from the beginning, a lot of them are still there, right? So there's reward in loyalty, yeah.
My guy, you have a vast reservoir of experience and networks. Because if these people, you saw them at that time you're in high school, they're coming in as associates and now they're the managing partners, and that's ridiculous, my guy. So in KSL, do you get 9 Ps?
Can I remember my grade? I know I failed one paper. Can't remember which one it was. And I retook it. Then I passed. But the rest were okay. They were B's.
What is the experience in KSL? Did you?
KSL, I loved it.
You did?
Yeah.
You're among the few who've come to this show and they said they love KSL.
Because of all these experiences, I had a diverse group of friends, right? You know KSL. There's your Moi guys, then your UN guys, then there's your UK guys. Right?
Yeah.
There's your UK people, and well, for us there were some guys from India. But it was fun because I got to mix and mingle with everyone, right? And I had a great time. I had a great group of friends, fantastic human beings who were brilliant in what they were doing. To the point where before exams, we had a study camp. I don't know of our friends' houses.
What?
Yeah. Like for a week. Actually 10 days. Like we bunked in his crib and would somewhere every day.
Wait, student initiated?
Yeah, it was me, Calvin, Andrew, Wadingira. Wadingira is now at, he's always been at Bowman. Yeah, just a bunch of us. And we were friends. We had a good time at KSL. Because I've always believed school school is stressful. Everybody said KSL is going to be stressful, but I said, I've always had a great time at school. And not because of, yes, it's the education bit, but school is not just about education. There's also the element of what kind of relationships are you building. That's something I learned very early. And I could see it. Again, I'll mention my father because he had his groups of friends. He had his uni guys, yeah, and then he had his guys from Stato when he went for his masters at what was it, Northwestern, and then he had his high school friends, and then he had his work friends. But all these people were hilarious human beings who told fantastic stories. And every time they sat together, they'd tell stories of the past and uni and high school, and they'd laugh and say, oh, you remember this and remember that. And that gave me the impression that there's education and then there's the humans who come in, who are in that space, make the best of both. But also, these people who are in school with you, surround yourself with guys who are also pursuing excellence in both. So, and you can see it. I mean, his friends are very successful, and every time they meet, it's not about, hey, my guy, did you see, built a, no. It's just laughing. It's laughter, food, and memories. And that's what really I took school as. So when I walked into KSL, I was like, I must leave here with a really good experience. And that experience is knowing lawyers who, outside work, I can have fantastic conversations with.
I think that needs to be told a lot because in our career, especially, guys are always very
Yeah,
uptight. Yeah.
I mean, my KSL group of friends it grew because, like, I meet G, Wadingira, then I meet his friend Ken, then his friend Jared, and now Jared ends up being the lawyer for Clyde & Co. They are the outside counsel for the Sol Group. This is how things happen, right? And people hang out to this day. A lot of us are now parents. People are now sharing stories, sharing experiences, but that's how it should be.
Yeah.
You do a show with someone who was very close friends with from university, and we've always been close friends. So yeah.
So now after KSL, what do you do your pupillage?
I was at Kindiki and Mburu and Kindiki, up Halingam.
Yeah.
I was serving under Professor Kindiki, the current.
CS.
Yes.
How was the experience?
It was great because I was in the area of IP. He's an IP expert. He taught me quite a bit, and you could tell that. I mean, let me tell you what I learned from working with him. ambition. Ambition is boundless. Yeah. Just have ambition. That's one thing I really learned from him. Yeah.
And clearly it shows where he's gotten himself into.
Yeah.
No, that is taking me back to at that time you're in IP. Had you figured out that this is where I want to get into the area of practice from that early on?
No, not when I was young like that. No, so in Campo I was a DJ. On the weekends. So my friend and I, it's a very funny story. So in Mada, the room above mine was we have a call today. He's a friend of mine called Juma Salim Juma. Actually, he's a brother. Because I was born on the 5th of June, I think he was born on the 5th of July. Here's my room, here's his room. So we've grown up Pamoja, literally. I go to Moi, I'm in law school, he's in med school. We both have. And then at Moi, I lived behind. Where I was staying, my cousin was right behind the med school hostels. So we link up and eventually we become this DJing duo. And become, so I was DJing in Campo. Every time I'd come back to Nairobi, we'd meet up with friends who are in the entertainment industry, like DJ Hypnotic, who we grew up with in Ronga. And we're like, yo, I need some help with this contract, need some help with this. And we're like, yeah, let me help you. Then I saw that there's a gap within the media entertainment space. And that's when I took it up.
So after Kindiki, where do you go?
Straight.
You branched on your own.
Yeah.
And you founded your thing.
I didn't found my thing. I just went to start working with Sauti.
It was just a seamless transition.
Yeah.
Had you known Sauti? Oh, for viewers, it's Sauti Sol.
Yeah.
Had you known Sauti, any of them before?
Yeah, this was. I'd known BN from Rongai when we moved, because we used to play basketball at the same court, and we were from opposing neighborhoods. So I was from Leiza, he was from Goroi, and the Goroi guys were always really good. I was from Leiza, and his team had Dij. Remember Dij?
Saa zingine.
The best basketballer I've seen ever in your life.
Dij
was mad. He was a very good basketballer. It had Dij, Ray, Dij's brother, part of the group 125. BN. That was Dan. That was the crew. Then our crew, we had Chihuahua, Hypnotic.
Wait, Chihuahua the artist?
The rapper, yeah. He's from the Laser area. DJ Hypnotic was from Ronga as well. So that used to be now. So we used to clash. We used to play like every day, maybe 4 or 5 hours a day. And that's why I met BN, and he had dreams of being, professionally in music. That was his sole focus. And I had dreams of being, on this other side, within the media IP entertainment space. When it comes to law, that's how we met. But this was in high school, right? Then I ship off to LD during holidays. We'll still speak. And the call came in like, hey, we want to turn this thing professional, come meet my boys. Then we met, and that's how it started.
Bro, you know what I'm hearing? There's so much music influence in your life at this time when you're in high school. And it is where many times kids are shaped. They shape their lives around that time. You had Dij, Chihuahua, BN as your friends at that time.
At that time, Chihuahua was a star.
Oh, at that time he had been.
That was a time for Nini.
Naje Poa
He was a big star.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Googs was my cousin.
What?
He's my cousin.
Mr. Googs for Githurai?
But I didn't know until later. But yeah, Mr. Googs is a relative. Lakini wakisi watu ni relas.
There's a friend of mine.
Mr. Googs is Omansa's cousin as well, from our mom's side.
There's a friend of mine called Pogi. You know what he says?
Yeah.
Once you get to Nakuru, Past Nakuru going that direction, everyone is a cousin. Everyone is a relative for another person.
No, yeah, but he's a really, our moms are first cousins.
So that informs the kind of law that you want to practice.
I'd say it started earlier, right? You know, these subliminal things that you. So my dad is a big fan of music, huge, and it used to be everything, from Charlie Pride to, you know, I found records of the Eagles. Used to listen to them, kitambo, to rumba. So imagine, like, from rock to rumba to the Beatles. So music has always been a big part of my life, right? And I've always been cultured to love music. And music has been a big part of his life because my grandma was very big on good singing. My granddad was a pastor in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And so music has always been a big part of us as a family. So, I mean, I guess it's just, it worked itself out in that way that here's a family that loves music. Here's someone who's studying the law. You have seen a gap in your own country. You have seen the world, so to say. And here's an opportunity to grow something and build something. So, you know, I sat down with my parents. I told them this is the direction I want to take. And they said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yeah." They've never been fully convinced because it's slow growing, and you can see my friends who they consider their children as well. You can see the level of success that they have, right? But the reality is nothing new, you know, is built in a day. You know, other lawyers are working on systems that have been built for hundreds of years, right? So we're working on a system. Yes, it's hundreds of years in a space like the US and the UK, and let me just say Europe in general, but for us in Africa, it's going to take some time. But I'd rather be a pioneer and have my children remember me for something, right? I think that's really the motivation.
And now you've said something really important that I would want maybe you talk about it more. Comparison, where say your folks seeing other children that are your age mates doing this and that. And considering that this is a mentorship show and we have a lot of that, especially on social media, what advice would you give a younger lawyer in terms of taking their journey slowly for it to mature?
Yeah, so I'll give something that Sauti, the four of them developed. And we call it DOPE.
DOPE.
Yeah. Discipline, order, passion, excellence. Right? Number one is, if you have these four things, you're going to be someone. Right? Secondly, in anything that you're doing, especially in an area that, especially the law, right? It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. The guys who sprint end up doing funny business. And that's the reality. Isemeka Maema wasn't built in a day. Kaplan and Stratton is old. HHM,
a century.
When guys say, it's older than a century, did HHM register Kenya Power and Lighting Company Limited? They're the advocates on file. So if KPLC is 130 years old, how old is this law firm? Right? The reality is, as a lawyer, you're nothing without experience. You're just a degree and a certificate holder of, practicing certificate. Until you're in the trenches and you understand that there are people who think faster than you, are brighter than you, and can play dirty, then why is a client paying you big money, right? So that's what I always tell guys. Take your time, learn. Be in a space where you can learn from other lawyers who have been doing this. I think that's why there's this whole process of pupillage, holding over. It's like apprenticeship, because you're molding something that sometimes can be irreversible, but also a lot of the times can be reversible, right? And that's the law. So it's a marathon.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, and in that marathon you need discipline, you need order, you need a passion for what you're doing, and you need an element of excellence. And just know a little bit of the law. Because you can't know all of it, it's so much.
Yeah. So, we just go back to your story as we continue. So you jump straight into Sauti.
Yeah.
At that time, do you have a mentor? Because I'm just thinking, you are from doing your pupillage, you've just been admitted. Who admitted you? Do you remember the Chief Justice?
I didn't take it.
Oh.
I didn't petition.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So you jump straight into it. Do you have someone showing the ropes? How is that transition for you?
There's no ropes. There's no transition. The only person was Junga Shui. And she was pretty busy at that time. Yeah. So you read. There's a fantastic book for anyone who wants to go into media, sports, entertainment law called What They Didn't Teach Me at Yale Law School by, I think it's someone McCormack. I can't remember the first person. But it's a great book. So I read that book and then I just started consuming as much information as I could. Marquette have a fantastic journal. University of Chicago have a fantastic entertainment and media law journal. Yale have some fantastic publications. University of Brunel in the UK also has some great ones. University of Minnesota has a whole school of media entertainment law, and their journals are fantastic. Just like consuming all this and then now doing like real deep dives into people's careers, what they did, how they built it, who they used, who are their lawyers, like Michael Jackson's lawyer, Bob Marley's lawyer. I think she's one of the people I'd really love to meet, because she was there from the beginning. She was in the house when the gunmen walked, bust in. And you can see the Marley family posthumously, how they structured that business, owning their masters and owning the name Marley and owning those rights, and how they structured that. You can see the family is still making money despite his 50 whatever children. So it was a lot of reading, a lot of trial and error, being self-taught, making mistakes. Yeah.
What's your biggest mistake you've ever done?
I can't say. Client privilege. Yeah.
So you get into this and you build something really beautiful. So how is your day like?
My day is interesting. Well, it's really changed from what now. Now it's like work day or
work day. No, I mean work day. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean your work day when you wake up. In terms of when you're doing legal work.
Yeah, so like I wake up, I take a walk as I check emails and respond to them. I think that's usually the only time I have really to do that. And then I'll just really checkups on. So, like I said, it's a group of businesses, right? So there is Sol Group Limited right at the top, and then we have Soul Generation Records, Soul Generation Music Publishing, and Soul Fest. And there's companies that the guys are part of the co-founding. So there's Shahara, there's Hustle. So you just check in with everybody. In case there's something that wanted me to do, there's a project that's going on and they needed my input, or I needed to check up what's going on with them. That's what I do most mornings. Then have conversations with our legal team, Sally and Amy, who are from Strath. Fantastic human beings, great lawyers. And then I just get down to work in terms of, is there any Are there any decks I'm supposed to review? Any decks I'm supposed to write? Yeah, and then essentially just catching up with the guys themselves, either via WhatsApp or phone call. Yeah.
Hey, Sasa, let's just get into a bit of into copyrights. Just a bit. Just touch on it. Why, and especially the last decade or so, why were there constant, not from this part of the world, but from the other side of the world, guys always saying that records are always, I'm looking for the political correct answer, shortchanging them.
Record label.
Yes.
So there's history to this, right? The history is that the artist was never in the position to control the business. The business was always in the position to control the artist. So people will come in and say, you're very talented, but I think I can make you a star. Let me invest some money into you. So the history is, if I put money behind your talent and make you a big star, I should take a piece of every single part of your earnings. And that's how it has always been, right? And you could see it from the beginning in the sense that, yes, the artist would make tens of millions of dollars, but the label is making hundreds of millions of dollars. Why? Because they're the ones who said, okay, I paid for you to be in those spaces. To market, I pressed the vinyl. I paid the radio stations, I paid the distributors, I paid for the fuel for the trucks, and I did all these things. And so that's where the record industry was. And it still carried on because we still had CDs. No, from phonograph came to cassettes, from phonograph, 8-tracks, cassettes, CDs, but now we've gone digital, right? So the labels have always been, the culture of the labels is that because we are the ones who make you stars, you are subservient to us, we are not subservient to you, because we can take anyone else and make them a star. So, and the artist doesn't. See, the thing is, when you're told to live a lifestyle, you forget that the label has a structure behind it, right? And you live your lifestyle assuming that the label will always be there for you, but they care about the money, and then you forget to build your structure. So by the time you've realized you spent so much money buying homes, buying cars, buying clothes, living that lifestyle, and then advance you some of this money, but you still owe them. So it's like this. They make you a star, then they give you loans. So that's always been the problem with the digitization of music and the ability for people to be able to self-distribute their music. And also the fact that a lot of artists had woken up to the fact that they could do it on their own and build structures behind themselves as independent artists, and it worked. Then people started picking up that blueprint. So yeah.
And there's this, probably you speak to the artists, there's this thing about masters, publishing. Maybe just demystify it.
So it's being demystified every day, especially publishing. But I'll do a very quick overview. A song is like a joint title, right? It's like a song is like a piece of land, right? To own this piece of land, you can have one holder of the title, or you can have many guys who own the title, right? Now, if you record this, if you write, sing, record the song by yourself and go to a studio and pay the producer, the recording producer, to record you, and he records you and you step out of that studio, that title is yours, right? Also, if you walk into a studio and you are the producer, I'm an artist, I come and say, hey, I want a pop song which sounds like X and Y and Y. You make the beat, I write the song, and I and I record, and I ask, what's your rate? You say, my rate is 100K per song, and I pay you 100K, and we sign a contract saying that you will work for hire, right? I own that title. But if I walk in and say, hey, I don't see a door, but I make fantastic music, that's how. If you make the song, right, and I don't pay you, you own that title until I pay you, then you assign the master right to me. But there's so many scenarios. If you're a producer, I'm a producer, we get an artist and we say, okay, fine, let's all make a song, and we split this title 3 ways. That's how it works. The other scenario is, I'm a fantastic singer, so someone like Rihanna, I'm a fantastic singer, but I can't write. I'm not a good songwriter. Then I get Neo to write me a song. Then the record label pays for the production. The record label owns the title, but there are certain rights, not those are called residual rights. That's where publishing comes in. So me as a singer, as the performer, I have a right. As a songwriter, the songwriter has a right. So now those are your publishing rights for public performance and use of the lyrics within the sound composition, which is the master right. Right. So you're recognized as a songwriter because the music without the lyrics either becomes commercially successful or not commercially successful. But if it becomes commercially successful, then you become world famous. And that's why you see people like Diane Warren, who some of the Billboard top 100 songs of all time. I think she has like 35 songs, but she's a songwriter. Why? Because she writes soundtracks to people's lives. So that in a sense, that's what publishing and master rights are.
I mean, you've just demystified the whole thing in a very simple scenario,
I hope so.
Which is the most, yeah. I think anyone who's watched that part alone, you already have an idea of what this thing about copyright is, in as much as it's wide, but you have an idea as an artist what that does to you. So let's talk about recognition. Mm-hmm. You've had a number of accolades.
Just one.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Top 30?
Top 40.
Top 40 under 40.
Yeah.
How does that recognition makes someone feel a certain type of way? You are accepted. You can see where your journey is. You can see your sweat and all that shebang. How is it important to people in practice or in their careers? No, how are you feeling after compared to how you're feeling before the recognition?
Like before, I mean, to be honest, it hasn't changed, right? Because
Even if you're not,
I wasn't doing this for recognition. First of all, there is no fee note, because remember we talked about loyalty. Yeah, I found a space that was accepting for me, that believed in the vision that I had for myself as a lawyer, and these 4 individuals were committed to making their careers work, but at the same time were very clear that Moriasi Niaje, we all have to make money. So I've been with Sauti from the beginning, and that's where I am. So when we talked about loyalty, the same way Mende has been with Mohammed Bigai from then to now, and my fee note I don't have a fee note because I'm internal. They've gladly given me some shares in the business, which I'm very happy. But I don't think anything changed. I tell you why sometimes this thing surprised me also, because in this whole Sauti Sol Group, Sauti Sol Entertainment story, it's always been teamwork, right? The people who have been at the forefront of the business has been those 4 guys, and they've always been, they come at you with a plan, vision. They're like, niaje, tunaweza fanya hiki tu aje, tunaweza shinda Grammy aje. end of nilikuwa nafanya research yangu, kuna hii na hii na like every time you sit down with them, they have sat down, they've thought individually and as a group. So nilicheki kitu nikaona hii documentary, there's this book I read, and they are avid readers, right? Like now I think BN is still reading what's it called, Diary of a CEO. So Savara reading Leaders Eat Last. Polycarp is rereading what's this book? The one for being present. What's it called?
Being present.
Yeah, there's a book. He reads, I think, he reads it every year. I'll remember the name of it. These are guys who are constantly reading. I learned the book Atomic Habits from Polly. 5 a.m. Club. I learned kuna hii book in 5 a.m. Club. It's BN who had it. So these are human beings who are consistently trying to achieve, and that also spills over to the teams. So when I heard that, hey, this is happening, like, yeah, it feels nice, because you believe in something and you want to do it, and then you do it, and you work in the shadows, and you come to find out that the people are actually watching. It's an interesting feeling, but also it opens up the doors for other young people who are thinking of going into entertainment law or media or even sports law, that there's a fantastic opportunity to do something.
Sasa kuna hii kitu lazima tuongelee kila mwaka. Royalties. Hii mwaka mlipata ngapi?
I don't know yet.
Yeah.
Walitupigia simu tuende huko sijui wapi collect checks. I was like, Maze, royalties first of all. Then when you ask how much are the royalties, and they say, oh, we can't tell you. It's supposed to be. The articles of association for the Music Society of Kenya say that you must disclose when a member asks. This year I don't know. I'll need to check.
And so why can't we get it right when it comes to royalties in this part of the world?
Number one, corruption. Number two, we don't have a tech-driven royalty collection system. Number three, and it's unfortunate to say, the biggest contributors to artist royalties are media. Media companies in this country don't pay.
Oh, they don't?
They don't pay tariffs. They don't. At all. And if they do, they pay minimum amounts of tariffs.
Is that going to get into trouble and we cut it?
No, I don't think so. Because they don't, right? They're the biggest consumers of our media. And it's unfortunate that as they had so much control and they had so much money to put behind artists in terms of royalties, we would have been in a much better space. Look at the countries where media actually pays royalties. Those countries, the media is still alive. Urban radio in the US, urban radio in the UK. And you can see it. Hot 97, BBC One Extra, Power 105. Why? Because artists understand there's a synergy between media and artistry. Here, it's not there, right? We're a means to an end. Really pisses us off. Apart from Radio Africa, because Kiss has always been very good with spreading the music. Like we have there's a technology on our back end that monitors who plays music. So it's an algorithm. You feed the algorithm with our music, and it shows you. Kiss, Homeboys, Radio Jambo, Classic plays a lot of music that comes from the Soul Group, that comes from Soul Generation. Plays a lot of it. So that makes us consistently want to work with them because they're promoters of it. But at the end of the day, media companies must pay royalties. For us to make money, they must. And that's one of the biggest problems in Africa. It's not unique to Kenya. Nigeria has an issue, TZ has an issue, Uganda has an issue. I'm not too sure about Rwanda because of statistics, and Burundi. I mean, the other countries are really dark. SA does not have that issue because there's structure, and you can see it in how South African artists collect in terms of royalty checks from Capasso, Samra, Sampro. You can see it, right? The checks are good. The checks are monthly, not even quarterly, not even yearly, monthly, bro. And you can see where there's structure. And then you can also see that radio and media in SA still has a role to play because media supports the artists through royalty payments, the artists support media through plugging them and giving them new music. So you see guys like Kaya FM still living, Channel O still there, and a bunch of other radio stations. So you see there's media can't live without the artists. So and then on the MCSK side, you can't be collecting all that money in terms of licensing and then saying 80% is going towards administrative costs.
I thought the act was very clear on that.
Have they given audited accounts from 2021? No, the 2021s showed that it was high. 2019 showed that it was high. It's just corruption, man. And then, how many of our artists are educated? Who can be Wandosis of MCSK? Very many. Who understand what's going on? Who know how to streamline? Why does MCSK still have enforcement officers? Like, why are they still issuing? Like, all this should be digitized, right? So for such a technology-driven country, in the one area where technology rules, in the music business, the people who are supposed to be collecting our royalties are still not very technologically driven. And then leadership is also not someone who understands where the area is. The areas of music where we can make the most or do the most. And if you try and engage, it just becomes an issue. Simple thing like our matter with Azimio. Someone goes on media and says, we don't know our own rights. And you can clearly read the articles and say, synchronization is not up to them. Sync rights are our rights, they're not their rights, right? It's not for them to say that, oh, this music can be used in a political manner, but for us, we're a very apolitical brand, right? So sync rights are the rights of the master right holder. So for us, these kinds of conversations also. And then in a year where you paid us 2.5 each.
Not dollars. Just clarify, it's not dollars.
Do you know?
Yeah.
We survived COVID through royalty checks from Europe and the US. That's how we survived COVID. Royalty checks and distribution checks. Yes. And we still had full complement of employees. We had our office. We did midnight train in the middle of COVID. Soul Family was done in the middle of COVID. So royalties are a very powerful tool if only these people would take it seriously instead of using royalty check collection as a PR tool. That's money. Why is someone collecting a royalty check? Send it to the M-Pesa. They need it.
Fun fact. You've seen that matter for synchronization with Azimio.
Yeah.
I remember I wrote an op-ed with Daily Nation and Business Daily. And immediately after I got threats.
From?
Say
it, MCSK.
I just got threats from powers that be at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just that was just by the way. So you work, your Jubu has so many moving parts. And this is what I mean. you work with creatives and not 1, 2, 3, or 4, because being the head of, you signed people, there's so many moving parts around your job. And they move quickly because creatives just keep on creating, right? How do you keep up? Because a traditional lawyer doesn't think like that. A traditional lawyer does other things that have been set and cast in stone for so long. How do you keep yourself abreast? How do you
Teamwork.
Yeah.
It's all teamwork. It's all teamwork, bro. Like, we're not. There's the head of the spear is Sauti Sol, the 4 of them, and Savara, Bia, and Polycarp Chima, that's the head of the spear. Everybody else is working behind their vision. So typically it starts with making a plan for the year. What does the year look like? Sit down with all the relevant teams and the guys take us through. This is what we're thinking, this is what do you guys think? And then the whole team contributes. And then what you do is that you just build the whole structure around it. What is required? When is it required? How is it required? Build timelines. And then the team executes. You see, the thing is, when it comes to things like running Soul Generation and the projects around that, you need a mind that can do that and has been able to do that for a while. That's why William Lanjero is, in charge of Soul Generation. His brilliance is making all these moving pieces move in a synchronized and a very agile manner, right? That's his strength. And on the publishing side, music publishing and distribution is Crispin, who understands music publishing and distribution to the T. He's been doing it for a long time. It's actually one of the reasons why we can self-publish and distribute for so long, because he really took an interest, took a passion, and became very excellent in it, and then took it up. So in that, he makes all those moving pieces work, and you can trust him to do it. On the Soulfest side, there's Zahida Suleiman and Kavutha Asio.
Kavutha, the artist as well?
Former. Well, yeah, she still sings. But, Kavu ran More Sound for a long time. Zahida did brand, and she was head of brand, head of experience for Safaricom. So the two people understand a brand and how to put an event together, right? And you let them do what they do. There's something the chairman of Abodole says, let people be in their flow. When people are in their flow, so imagine there are 6 rivers flowing as they're supposed to flow. All you have to do is go and turn them in one direction or the other according to the direction that you want. And that's what the guys do. Now, what I'm tasked to do is just make sure that whatever is being done here is also communicated to the guys, whatever the guys want to communicate to the team is communicated to them. Then upper katikati is everybody properly contracted. Is everybody comfortable? Is everybody happy? What are the issues? Are there any issues? Chebi, who has been our accountant for eons, now finance, in charge of finance, he's also found his flow. I think that's the thing where people need to understand, if you're not good at something, get someone who's better than you, and then let them do it. Let them do it to the best of their ability. If your vision and your mission is strong enough, they won't take it away from you. They'd want to work with you to make it better. So that's how you manage the moving pieces. Just let everybody find their flow.
Sasa tufanye hivi. There's a kid in KSL. There's a guy who's just joined their pupillage. There's an associate who's done 2-3 years, and they want to find their footing in media, entertainment, and sports law. What would you tell them? What advice would you give them?
Do a master's. It's important.
Immediately?
Yeah, don't learn on the fly. Learning on the fly is tough, man. Because I don't have time to mentor guys. I don't have time to mentor everyone who wants to do it. A lot of guys want to do it now. A lot of guys are coming out of Strath and want to do it. Just go and do a master's. There are a couple of schools that you can do it at. I think University of Wits has a program. Brunel in the UK has a program. University of Minnesota has a good program. NYU has a good program. The University of Singapore, but it's expensive, has one. Marquette in the US has one. Just do a master's. But also, work there kidogo and come back. Yeah. You'll find some experience. You'll also come back with a bit of knowledge on how to navigate an African artist out of here and take them there. Yeah. So you make it a shorter journey than the 20 years that it took Sauti. Yeah.
Split sheets. Briefly, we can just highlight what these animals are.
Split sheets is the title we were talking about. That's the title deed. Yeah. So a split sheet is essentially a title deed for a song. And it shows who did what for that song, who contributed what to that particular song. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you're coming to the tail end of this thing, now besides this that you're doing, besides Jobo, what do you do when you're not working?
A lot. I'm a father to a 7-year-old girl who is what my mom says a revenge. Yeah. She has my energy, she has my enthusiasm for life when I was a young person, so I'm a dad. I am a partner to a beautiful lady called Nasiku Kudate. We've been together since second year of Campo. So that's 2007. Yeah, we've been together since 2007. I'm a son, I'm a brother to Boke, my sister, my older sister, and now new sister Sempeo and Soila. Love basketball, right? So I was captain of my university law school for a while until younger blood came in. Play soccer, play golf.
You played it. You called it soccer.
Eh?
You called it soccer.
What's the problem? Play football. Enjoyed football quite a bit in high school. We were pretty good. Yeah. What else do I do?
You still play golf?
Yeah, from time to time.
Oh, time to time. So, not seriously. Not like Johnson, who's gone, who has a handicap.
No. This is for fun.
Yeah.
And then I like beating guys who have handicaps.
Yeah.
No, but basketball and football are my thing. Yeah, and DJ from time to time.
You still do it up to date?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Still play from time to time. Enjoy it. What else? I collect Jordan 1s. It's a bit of a bad habit. Yeah.
That's it. Tumemaliza show.
Okay.
Angalia kwa hiyo kamera. Useme wakili Kwekwan.
This is my phone. Hello? Wakili? Kwekwan?